So I think that the majority of you out there will agree with me on this, that the Fast and Furious franchise by Universal has been overdone, and that's an understatement, by the way. I mean, what we saw happen in the previous movies to the point where they go into space is absolutely ridiculous. I would not be surprised if by Fast X Part 3, they're gonna go to the moon. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So, we have a total of 10 Fast and Furious movies so far, technically, of course, 11 with Hobbs and Shaw, and more to arrive. And there's a lot of things going on right now with Vin Diesel with the recent allegations from a former assistant. We'll have a lot to talk about that, but what studios are now doing against Vin Diesel quickly and rapidly, and what may be argued as premature, is really stirring up the production of a lot of these upcoming projects and everything associated with himself as a producer. So we know that Vin Diesel has had his differences with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson before in the past. That eventually was settled out. That's why Dwayne makes an appearance at the end of Fast X for his return in Part 2 and Part 3, to conclude the Fast saga completely before they move on to their spin-off slate. Now this is where things get quite serious for Vin Diesel, and it involves Universal Studios following all of the allegations, following all of the claims, so to speak, that have been made by this former assistant. So one thing about all of this, provided by, of course, Universal and what they have been up to with all these upcoming spin-offs for the saga. Interestingly enough, with the recent Vin Diesel drama already wreaking havoc on the production of Fast X Part 2 and Part 3 after the recent lawsuit that's being pressed against him based on allegations, since Vin Diesel is being faced of getting sued, one major development has to do with how studios like Universal, for example, are already taking serious action against the actor before anything has been proven. As it turns out, in one significant update to this drama, the heads over at Universal recently made a quick decision to drop Vin as a producer from one of the untitled Fast and Furious spin-off films, and are already looking for a replacement for producer before they make the official announcement of this film, that will be connected to all female-led cast Fast and Furious movie. The plan by Universal is to create a full slate of spin-offs after both Fast X Part 2 and 3 come to a close. And speaking about the all-female-led Fast film, another recent development coming out of Universal is that they have already removed him from making several cameos as Dominic Toretto in that specific film, which he was supposed to have an important role for the third act that would set up all the spin-offs before his official departure. Universal is quickly taking a stance on this, due in part to the fact that they already had several creative differences with Vin and his producing methods for the Fast spin-off slate that is being, of course, well over 7 years of content for the studio to create. This is now currently all on hold after the recent allegations came in from that former assistant. Universal is already heading into damage control, where many interviews have been instructed by Universal to Vin to come to a quick halt. However, where it stands right now, Fast X Part 2 is still a go with Vin Diesel. The creative differences that were happening between Vin and the Universal heads for the two spin-offs have been going on for quite a number of months to begin with, and the allegation against him was the push that Universal needed to finally hop off the fence to make their dormant decision. Where it stands right now is that Vin has been rapidly removed as a producer for the untitled Fast spin-off that Universal plans to drop sometime in 2027, following the, of course, closure of Fast X Part 3. Now guys, before I get to the big conclusion about this, let me just say one thing about this ongoing drama, is that this is the latest version of Me Too, right? We don't really know what Vin did, if that's true, or if it's not true. Of course we know the details, and I'm not going to talk about that here, it's quite graphic, but we don't know what he really did, or what he didn't really do. It's very hard to prove that. It's all a he said, she said type of situation, and we see this more often in the Hollywood bubble, where the studios tend to make their decision very quickly based on the person that's getting accused. And it's interesting that Universal would step in so quickly to do this. Now, we know that obviously the Fast and Furious franchise has been lacking. There's been a lot of, ups and downs with this overall franchise, not just limited to the drama between Diesel and Dwayne Johnson, but also, also connected to everything that has been going on with endless spin-offs planned in the works, as well as the extension of Fast X. Originally supposed to be a 2-part event, now it's going to be a 3-parter to kind of turn it into its own dedicated trilogy, if you will. So Diesel, we all know that what he's doing right now is, of course, producing. He's trying to produce Fast X Part 2 and 3, trying to get that all done and wrapped up before he moves on. And he was supposed to be involved in many of the spin-offs. So that is now all pretty much tainted with all these allegations coming from the former assistant. Everything happening with that as well is not good for Universal's image. That's why they're taking rapid steps right now by doing something to Vin Diesel with this Fast and Furious slate, so to speak. Now, moving onwards, alright, all appearances for the all-female-led Fast film have also been restricted by Universal, and they are already in the process of removing him as a producer for that film in particular, as the allegations again for Diesel ramp up with no sign of watering down right now. Universal also instructed Vin to put a halt to all updates on social media regarding the development of the spin-off films, as they attempt to supervise these allegations before they get settled or not for Vin. This is described as Universal's rapid damage control, many that would argue is premature. So I would like to hear your overall, opinion on that. Do you guys think that this is premature out of Universal? Do you think it's not premature? Look, we all know that it's a he said, she said situation, right? It's very hard to pinpoint what's real and what's not. There's no footage, there's no kind of audio evidence or anything like that. And this is something, by the way, that happened years and years ago. So this is something that's going to be a very complex thing to prove, and at the end of the day, it's not good for Vin's image regardless, because of what Universal is doing right now as damage control. So again, we know that we've seen many examples of this happening throughout 2023 and 2021 of major actors going through, similar patterns just like this. Some of which got resolved, some of which not so lucky. And this is the latest. This is not surprising. And I would not be shocked, by the way, if Vin did what he did. I'm not going to be, sitting here and lying about that. I would not be shocked if he did that. But I'm not going to also say that he did what he actually is being accused of, because there's really nothing to point at that really showcases that, right? So I think at the end of the day, Universal is stepping in too quickly. This is all being done way too rapidly to the point where it really does come off as desperate damage control once more. And we all know that the whole Jonathan Majors situation, people have differing opinions on him and what Disney did against him and what Marvel Studios did for his role as Kang. People have, of course, different beliefs about what he did or did not do, and that's fine. That's also welcome below in the comments. So anyway, guys, drop a comment below. Fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.